What's up, guys? Keep actually that. Spider-Man Across the Spider-Verse. Okay, we're here. We're going to discuss what we want to see in Beyond the Spider-Verse. We're basically going to be talking about what we want to see and what we think might happen. We're going to talk anomalies. We're going to talk multiversal threats. We're going to talk Spot, and we're going to talk everything we want to see in the movie.
If you haven't seen the movie yet, go see it.
Right. This is a must.
We need to beat Mario.
dude, sign this guy up for advertising, bro. I'm trying to see.
Promotion.
Yeah, screw the Burger
Sony,
King.
send me a sweater or something.
Something for real. Like, screw this Whopper that I see everywhere. The red bud Whopper. Look at that. Ready? Get this. Oh, damn. Get this guy out. Look at that. This movie, if you haven't checked it out, why are you even on this video? Why aren't you watching, like, any other YouTuber who's talking about it?
Yeah.
I don't know what Letterboxd necessarily. I don't know if it's audience score, if it is reviewer score, but Letterboxd, it's the #1 movie all time. So it's above like Parasite, and it's above like Spirited Away and stuff like that, which is
Avatar: The Way of Water.
Yep. Yeah, and I know that's your favorite movie, bro. I know you sat through all 7 hours and you were just twiddling your fingers.
Way of Water should not have made $1 billion, or not $2 billion. Should not have made $2 billion.
The first one deserved it.
Yeah.
The second one. What happened? In Spot's little dialogue at the end of the movie, where he's kind of showing where Miles' dad is gonna die, which by the way, spoilers, they also show for just like a couple frames. It's like literally like 6 frames. It's really small. It shows Spot standing above a land of just dead Spider-Man. And he's standing, it's in New York, and all the buildings are all the buildings are collapsed, and it shows a bunch of different Spider-Man, and they're all down. I mean, they could be alive, just knocked out, but it looks like they're all dead because they're not moving at all. Now that kind of hints, and these movies are really good at like going back to the last film and kind of adding on to that. And so I feel like it's pretty safe to say that there's going to be a Spider War, kind of a Civil War type thing, and especially since the dividing of Miguel and Miles, and then the different Spider-Man going different sides. I definitely could see it going to a Civil War type situation. They could do it. You think they could keep it still like the human feeling? Do you think it'll be too much?
I think they could. I mean, I was really pumped for Across the Spider-Verse, but I was still iffy because the first one was so amazing. I just didn't know if they could pull off having this many characters in a movie and still making you feel. Because you feel for characters that weren't even on screen for that long. The Lego Spider-Man. You like Lego Spider-Man. You're like, I would fight for Lego Spider-Man. But it just does a good job of introducing so many Spider-Man at one time. You're being fed so much information, but you still are able to process it. But I think they could keep it still... having that human feeling.
It's hard. I'm gonna have to agree with you though, because it's kind of like,
because they have an excellent track record. So
because I had the same feeling. I thought Across Spider-Verse was going to be amazing. Like, I thought it was going to be an amazing movie. I thought it was going to do well in the reviews and money wise, but I genuinely thought it would be too ambitious, dude.
Yeah, 300
plus Spider-Man. This multiverse story, it just, there was no way they could keep it a human feeling. There's no way they could tell a family story. There's no way.
Yeah.
And I went in there and I was mind blown. It's like my favorite movie. So it's just like, I think they could definitely do it. They're in the right hands. They could definitely do it. It's going to be hard though. It's not going to be easy. It's kind of like I went into the second one and I genuinely was in there and I was like, okay, here we go. This is going to be way too ambitious and it's going to be very blinded. But while watching it, I mean, it tickled my booty hair. It made me shift.
Nipple chills.
Nipple chills, dude. It was
shout out to Real Rejects for that phrase.
But beyond that, what do you think of Spot?
I liked Spot a lot.
Yeah? Because
Spot was kind of weird in the 1994 cartoon.
Right.
I just never... It's so genius that they use Spot for the multiverse.
Yeah.
Because... I don't know why no one ever thought of that, but...
The funny thing with Spot, though, they bring up the old cartoon is, in the old cartoon, he literally was, literally down the definition, was one of your weekly villains. Because, the cartoon would release weekly episodes. He was literally just like a
weekly villain. He beat him in one episode.
Yep, so. And he never showed up. Yeah, he was just like, that was it. So it's kind of funny that was kind of like his theme. Like, he's like, I'm not a weekly villain. I'm going to become your nemesis. Do you think he's better than Kingpin from the first movie?
Ooh. I think he can become better than Kingpin, because I think... how they portrayed him was he's developing during the movie, whereas Kingpin's already developed. He's already this nemesis that is a huge bad guy that other bad guys listen to. So
yeah, and you're kind of sitting there and you're kind of like, how does Kingpin sit in a car?
Yeah,
you know what I mean? You're sitting there and you're like,
his head's like
right, and you're sitting there and you're kind of like, how does Kingpin even have a family? How does he
I mean, he kills the Spider-Man.
Right.
It was the craziest moment.
That's a crazy moment.
That's what pulls you into the movie. You're like, oh.
Damn. And Spot hasn't had that moment yet, so I think Kingpin's better right now, but that's because
he's
Kingpin
hilarious
kind of
with what he
fully
just,
developed out. Yeah. Spot's going to become great. And then the end show that he's menacing. Okay, welcome to our special guest, Siri. What?
Welcome.
Welcome in. I think Miles in the movie, in the movie it shows, even though it's a canon event, it's still possible to not do the to not do the canon event, to fight against the fate of the canon event and still save the universe and still make it not blow. So it's still possible.
Do you think that's why they're calling it Beyond the Spider-Verse?
Right. Something. Right. That's something to think about, right? Kind of beyond the rules, because we were also talking about this. No one in the movie actually understands how the rules work.
Yeah.
As of right now, they're just going off of what they know. They know that the captain's gonna die. They know it's fact. The question is like, can you prevent it? And while doing that, can you not destroy a whole universe?
Yeah.
Because in the same movie, we see them prevent a death of a captain. That's another question: is who do you think's gonna die?
Yeah.
Because we're wrapping up I think it's safe to say that we're wrapping it up, and this is going to be the last Spider-Verse movie. I think it's safe to say.
It'd be super sad, but I could see Peter B. Parker, like his mentor.
That's a good one.
Dying.
That's a really
even though
good
he has a daughter now, but I could see like that daughter growing up, and she becomes the Spider-Woman for her universe and is out saving. Kind of replaces her dad, but as much as I don't want that to happen, because Jake Johnson as Peter B. Parker is so amazing.
Right. No, but bringing that up, I think you might be onto something, especially since the whole idea of like these movies tackle the parent philosophy of kind of like telling a story through the lens of either the kid or the parent. It's always telling like a family story. So to see it kind of wrap up, I mean, as gruesome as it is, or how like dark it may be, I mean, life does end. People do die. And it could be a little twist not to see like, the whole movie is about Miles' dad dying, and then Peter B. Parker dying is kind of like Miles' other dad. I'm sure they'll expand on that, but in the second one, he's kind of like, he's the only reason Mayday exists. He's the only reason that Peter actually had a kid was because of Miles. Yeah. And I feel like Miles has so much going on in his life, he hasn't really processed that. So I feel like in third one, they might slow down and kind of tackle that. And like Miles is like, wow. Like he's kind of like not only a mentor, but he's kind of like a dad figure. Like he's kind of like, not to fall under, which also means Miles, brings us to Miles. Will Miles die? Because he's literally an anomaly. Like it's going to be hard to keep him alive. That being said, it's also very predictable if he dies. It's like, so how do they tackle that? How do you think, as a writer, how would you tackle that?
I don't even know. Like,
right, it's a lot, and they have a whole writing team in years to talk about it. But like, just here in a basement, how would you tackle it?
It's just a weird theory. I could see somehow like him giving the power up to the other Miles.
Okay. That's interesting. I could see that though.
Is this other Miles too far gone being the Prowler?
Because I could see that, because if he does give his powers up, I mean, the anomaly ends. The original how fate was supposed to happen. He is. But
then it's just like he's left without a Spider-Man in his universe if he weren't to die. Like, and if I don't know. It's
I would think, as an alternative to Miles dying, you pull a No Way Home kind of situation where it's like not necessarily erasing everyone's memory, but pull No Way Home where it's kind of like a universal, and in this case, a multiversal change. A kind of kind of something with whether it's the works of Miguel or Spot, where Spot's literally like changing the the multiverse. A way of like Miles has to offer something up to save it. Maybe that's not his life, but maybe it's his powers. Maybe it's never seeing Gwen and stuff again. Yes, that's what I was gonna say. One thing these movies are showing, we'll end it here. But one thing these movies are showing, and they're being very transparent with this. Like, they're very pushing this narrative. We've seen hundreds of Spider-Man, and we've seen multiple different races, different literal creature, like, you know, spider cat, like T-Rex. Like, we've seen all these different, and yet out of everything we've seen in the Infinite Multiverse, we've only seen 2 Miles Moraleses.
Yeah.
And coincidentally, one of the only 2 other Miles Moraleses isn't even Spider-Man.
Yeah.
So one thing I'm thinking of as well, which could be kind of cool, is what if Miles, in some sort of anomaly, some sort of reasoning in the multiverse, was never supposed to be Spider-Man. Like, specifically Miles is never supposed to be Spider-Man. And then because of this spider coming up, maybe this Miles of, that we see was supposed to be like the first Miles. And since he was stripped away, this is what's starting all the wars, is because this wrong Miles became Spider-Man.
Yeah.
And what I could see them kind of going for with the narrative is, some way, obviously much more detailed, but in some way, somehow, Miles realizes that he's the reason that other Miles aren't become Spider-Man, and so he, some way, somehow, kind of resets that timeline there, and that's how we get Miles from the comics, and that's how we get Miles from PS5.
Yeah, so he starts
the whole Miles line, because we see that Miles
he's the original Miles that starts all of that'd be cool, because
we see Miles in PlayStation, and we see PlayStation Spider-Man referenced multiple times in the first and second one.
Yeah.
So why not show Miles? Why not? Because, I mean, it wouldn't destroy anything. You don't even have to show his face. Just show him in the background.
Yeah.
But they don't.
There's plenty of Miles in comics.
The comics, or even Childish Gambino himself. He was the whole reason, like, Miles, he was, like, saying that Miles. So why not show him in live action? Just anything, right? And they, refuse to show other Miles. And the only other Miles we've seen isn't even Spider-Man. Mm-hmm. So that's something you also think about. Like, maybe it's, like, he's the start of all Miles. But I don't know. It's definitely
interesting.
Hard. Yeah, it's an interesting thing. But what do you guys think of Beyond the Spider-Verse could introduce? What kind of concepts? Do you think it'll be too ambitious? Do you think it'll be too much? Let us know.
Yeah. Give this channel a follow. This guy works his butt off to edit stuff, to make videos. You'll find a lot of cool videos.
Yeah, check our shorts. Check the shorts, the TikTok.
He's a special one.
Nah, bro. I mean, listen.
I just talk and make nonsense.
Listen, if Sony's listening, give us tickets to Beyond the Spider-Verse.
Early showing right now.
Yeah, give us early show right now. But subscribe. Bye.